Hello and welcome. Have you ever had a simple cut or a scrape that just, well, refused to heal? It's a real medical mystery that affects millions of people. It's like the body's incredible repair system just stalls. Today, we're going to crack that case.
This is the big question, right? This is the core of our whole investigation. See, when that natural healing process hits a wall, it's usually a giant clue that there's something else, something deeper going on. And finding that why is the only way we can find the right fix.
And to solve any mystery, you really need a solid method. So for this explainer, we're going to put on our detective hats. We're going to follow the clues, we're going to analyze the evidence, and piece this whole thing together step by step.
So the official term for this mystery we're tackling is a chronic wound. And unlike a regular cut, these things are often just the symptom of a much bigger, systemic problem that's kind of hiding inside the body. Our investigation has to start by figuring out what that problem is.
Every single good investigation starts with a bit of background work. In the medical world, this is called anamnesis, which is really just a fancy way of saying we need to hear the patient's story. This is where we gather our first, absolutely vital set of clues.
Our detectives, they zero in on 4 key areas. First, what other diseases might the patient have? Second, what medications are they taking right now? Third, what are their daily habits? Their lifestyle. And finally, have they ever had trouble with wounds healing in the past? Every single answer is another piece of the puzzle.
And here we have our lineup of the usual suspects. Underlying diseases are a huge factor. We're talking about things like diabetes or conditions that cause poor circulation like chronic venous insufficiency, CVI for short, and peripheral arterial occlusive disease, which you'll hear called PAV, K. Even certain meds like steroids or habits like smoking can totally sabotage the body's repair crew from the inside out.
All right, with the background check done, our detective now moves to the scene of the crime, the wound itself. The physical wound holds a ton of direct visual evidence about what's really going on.
One of the most immediate clues is just color. A healthy healing wound bed, it's typically this nice, beefy red, which tells us there's good blood flow. But yellow or black, those are major warning signs. Black, in particular, tells us that tissue has actually died. And that's a serious roadblock to healing.
So let's look a little closer at that yellow color, because it can be tricky. It could be fibrin, which is actually a normal part of the healing process, like a natural bandage. But if there's too much, it can slow things down. Or it could be pus. And pus is a clear, unmistakable sign of infection. Figuring out which one it is absolutely critical. Pus means we've got an active infection on our hands that has to be dealt with like yesterday.
Okay, so beyond color, a good detective documents everything else. They look at the fluid, the exudate, noting if it's clear and watery, which we call serous, or maybe a bit bloody, sanguinous, or if it's thick and colored, which is purulent. They check for any bad smells, since a foul odor is a huge red flag for bacteria. And of course, they measure it. Tracking the size, length by width by depth tells us if our approach is working or if we need to switch up our strategy.
Sometimes what you can see just isn't the full story. The patient's history and the look of the wound give us a lot to go on, but to really confirm our suspicions, we need to bring in the forensics lab for some more advanced testing.
Think about it. A wound can't heal without supplies, right? So, is enough blood and all the oxygen and nutrients it carries actually getting to the site? That's where a test called the Ankle Brachial Index, or ABI, comes in. It's a really simple, non-invasive way to see if the arteries are delivering enough blood down to the legs. It's like checking the supply lines to the construction site.
And here it is. This is the magic number. If that ABI value comes back less than 0.9, well, that's our smoking gun. It's a huge indicator of something called peripheral arterial disease, which basically means the arteries are clogged up. The wound is literally being starved of everything it needs to rebuild.
Okay, so we've checked the supply lines on the outside, but what's happening inside the body's headquarters? To find that out, our investigation turns to blood work. Lab tests give us a fantastic snapshot of the body's overall health and its readiness to put up a fight.
These blood tests let us interrogate our main suspects. Is there evidence of widespread inflammation going on? Is uncontrolled blood sugar from diabetes gumming up the works? Are there signs of a hidden infection somewhere? or is just poor nutrition, leaving the body's defense team weak. Each one of these results is another vital clue.
And this is that moment in every detective story where all the different pieces of the puzzle finally click into place. We take the patient's story, the evidence from the wound itself, those circulatory tests, the lab results, and we assemble them all into one single, coherent picture. And this is exactly why this whole process matters so much. As our source material puts it, this deep, comprehensive investigation is absolutely essential. It's not just about slapping a name on the problem, it's about understanding the unique mix of factors for each person, which is the only way to create a truly personalized treatment plan that will actually work.
So what this really all shows is that solving the case of a chronic wound isn't about some single aha moment. It's a careful, systematic process. From that very first question you ask a patient to the very last lab result that comes in, every single clue truly matters in building an accurate diagnosis.
So, with the why finally answered and the mystery solved, a brand new question pops up. Now that we know the cause, how do we finally get this wound to heal? Well, that of course is a story for another explainer. Thanks so much for joining me.